Okay, and we should be live. Welcome everyone to a special edition of the Paradox Hour. Uh, I am your host and resident Brett Mill, and joining me this Thursday is Jack.
Hello there.
Tonight, as I said, this is a very special edition because we will be talking about the anime premieres of the Winter 2021 season. We have watched most of them. I believe the only ones we're missing are LBX Girls, which just didn't really look very good. Uh,
Yeah.
Redo of Healer, we're not touching that shit show. We
Oh,
refu-
hell no. Not touching that.
we refuse to give it any sort of platform because it doesn't deserve it. Uh,
I'm not putting my that.
yeah,
That's for sure.
I mean, neither of us just wanted to watch it, and from what we've heard, it was fairly benign anyway, so it didn't even get sort of the controversy boost for the premiere. So no, we're not touching it.
Apparently, it was a lot tamer than expected, which is hilarious.
Yeah, there was only one rape scene.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and the other one that may or may not count, Attack on Titan final season. We're not touching that
Neither of
again.
us are keeping it anyway, so there's no point.
I mean, I'm keeping up on the manga just so I can talk about how bad it is, but yeah, neither of us cares enough to keep up with the anime, and it would just be
Yeah.
us talking shit about it for like 10 minutes anyway.
With regard to sequels, the only ones we'll be covering are ones that we are actually current on
Yeah.
in terms of the anime. So just be aware of that, please.
Uh, the other thing to note before we get started is we are going to try something a little new. We've got the key visuals for each show that we're covering, uh, and you should be able to, know what show we're covering by what key visual is currently on the screen. I'm hoping the one currently on screen is 2.43, which is the show we are starting with.
It is indeed that. That's indeed the one on screen.
Fantastic. Things are going well for once. It's just so nice to have a stream without technical issues. I mean, you weren't
Oh God.
you weren't there for my Tuesday one where things just went consistently wrong. It's what made me decide. Yeah, I need a new computer. So yeah, I'm getting a new computer. Should be here in probably maybe a month, maybe a little bit less. Not sure. Depends on how long it takes to build it.
Yeah.
But
All right.
so, starting with 2.43. So, there are some shows, just before we actually get started, there are some shows that only one of us have watched, there are some shows that both of us have watched.
I didn't watch any sports shows because I'm not a sports guy, so
And
that's
that's
all Mill's territory.
and that's fair. I try to avoid most of the isekais because I hate isekai. It's a dumb genre. I'll get more into it later on, but about my woes with this guy, especially this season. But to start with is 2.43, aka Discount Haikyuu. It had to be said. I mean, it's not fair to compare it to Haikyuu because it's clearly not Haikyuu. Visually, it's not as good as Haikyuu, I would say. It's not bad, but having just ended Haikyuu season last season, it did become apparent. Actually, no, there were parts of it that were parts of the actual volleyball action that was really good. Just the start bit
Correct me
seemed.
if I'm wrong, but doesn't this one also have a fair bit of homoerotic subtext in it?
You say that like Haikyuu doesn't have that.
Fair enough. I mean that's most shonen series with a predominantly male cast.
I mean, it really is, but yeah, you say that like there aren't hundreds of thousands of Kageyama Hinata shippers for Haikyuu, but for the moment, I mean, this seems like it's going to be very sort of soap opera and drama-y rather than just focused on
Right.
the sports. I mean, again, spoiler alerts for the first episodes of all these shows. Um, the end of the episode is the cousin of one of the leads revealing that the other lead uh, drove a member of his former team to suicide with his demands. So, yeah, that was a thing.
That's heavy shit.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it was a dick move by the cousin. Complete jealousy move. But, I mean, I'm still intrigued on where it'll go because at the moment it's still in junior high, and the actual like official summary was talking about the two of them in high school. So there's clearly going to be some sort of time skip, and I'm interested to see sort of what it does after the bombshell that was dropped at the end of the episode. Also, they're childhood friends, so of course there's homoerotic subtext.
Oh, geez, that's even more.
Yeah.
Like, childhood friends automatically add some ship teasiness
Yeah.
to anything.
It's just something that happens. Yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to say. So, the next show, just get rid of that visual, bring up this visual, is one of yours, Back Arrow.
Yes, Back Arrow is a very odd series in that it's kind of a mix of sci-fi and fantasy elements, and it feels very triggery, which is appropriate considering some of the staff behind it were involved in Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann.
So, even without being in the season, Trigger is going to save anime again.
That's the hope. This is actually set to be two-core.
Fair enough.
Which bodes well because it definitely has a scope that would contribute to it being a longer running series.
Yeah.
I definitely get the feeling that this isn't going to be too rushed, even though it is probably going to be fairly fast paced.
That's good.
Also, it's triggered because the protagonist spends pretty much the entirety of his appearance in the first episode completely nude.
Jesus Christ.
It's not even produced by Trigger, but it has those Trigger elements to it.
Okay.
Including mechs that are powered by conviction, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Okay.
And God, it's very interesting because it's this strange blend of sci-fi and fantasy elements while also having like three different cultures. Like one's clearly based off of China, one's based off of the American West, and one's based off I think like medieval or Renaissance Europe. They all have very different aesthetics. Though we've only met the China-based and American West-based cultures so far. But I am very much interested in what this is putting down. It's not like it's nowhere near the best new premiere of the season, but it's an original, so I am always interested in seeing what those have to offer.
I mean, yeah, I would be interested if it wasn't a mecha.
I honestly just check out the first episode to see if it's for you.
If it's mecha, it won't be for me. I have no idea why I don't like mecha, but I just don't.
That's fair. It's the same as my bias against sports. I can't explain it, but it's there.
Yeah, it's just something that we both have. And as I said, if I ever find out what my like subconscious grudge against mecha is, I will let you know. But until then, there's just something about it that I just don't especially enjoy.
Yeah, I am still going to hold it against you that you didn't watch Grand Elm because of it, though. Because that's more magical girl than mech.
Not only did I only watch 3 episodes of Grand Elm, I'm fairly sure I've ranked it in like the bottom quarter in my 2019 list.
And I will hold that against you.
That was fair. That I did actually say in that one that it was harsh, but it was the only place I could put it based on how I felt about it. Anyway, do you want to...
Moving on to the next one, which I also watched that Mill didn't. Bottom tier character Tomozaki-kun.
A.K.A. incels. Or an incel.
Honestly, like, the base premise of the show is taking this incel and making him realize that, no, it's not him against the world. It's on him to improve himself and make himself into a better person. Which is a good message, especially considering how incels can act.
Mm,
So yeah, I do think that this does have promise if it's about Tomazaki improving himself as a person
yeah.
and just he, I will say like he does frame a lot of things in terms of like video games like oh this person has better inherent stats than me and so on and so forth.
Uh,
But
that's just the cringy way that writers think nerds think.
to be fair, he's a pro gamer.
I still I still don't think pro gamers go around imagining the world around them is their game and
Let me
talking in those
rephrase. He's an
terms.
antisocial shut-in pro gamer.
I still don't think so.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
I'm just
still
saying
doubt it. I
that
mean, it's slightly more likely than just pro gamer, but I would still say that like the vast majority of those people don't talk in those sorts of terms.
yeah. Regardless, I am going to give this a few episodes to see if it actually sticks to the base premise and actually follows through on Tomazaki becoming a better person. I do also like that the female lead is does not let him get away with his bad attitude and
Incel
actually calls
bullshit.
him on his bull. Yeah, she calls him on his bullshit.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate that there it's very clear that she does not she has no interest in him whatsoever, like
We'll
at
see how long
romantically or
that lasts. I don't trust
yeah.
anime.
I hope it sticks. I hope that because like I do wish it wasn't just the cliche of oh the main guy and the main girl have to date because reasons.
Mm,
I do like it to be subverted every now and again,
yeah.
especially when it's clear that these two have a lot more chemistry as friends than they would as romantic partners,
So they
if I'm
do.
being honest.
So they do at least have chemistry.
Yeah, there is chemistry there. I will say though, like a good chunk of the first episode is Tomazaki being a sad sack before he realizes that he can become a better person.
And I
Uh,
suppose
or rather, or rather, before the female lead drills it into him that he can better himself.
hmm. And I suppose that it's as you said before, it's a good message or it's a good concept. An incel improving himself and realizing that you know it's up to him to improve himself and improve his chances with the world, rather than just blaming everything on everyone else. It's a good message to have in this day and age,
Oh, absolutely.
and it's one more anime should have really.
Oh, absolutely. But moving on, we're going to be going into a lot of medical slash entertainment stuff in the next few entries.
I wouldn't say that too much about Dr. Ramune, but we'll start with Cells at Work Season 2.
I mean, Cells at Work season two is more of the same from season one.
Mm.
It's fun stuff, very educational, and the platelets are fucking adorable. There's really not much else to say other than I like the show. It's really fun, and the characters are also really fun and entertaining.
Yeah,
If you
basically,
like the first season, you
yeah,
like this one.
basically, yeah. It's not a show that changes its formula very much, which to a slight extent is to its detriment. Like, it's
It's
very
both a benefit and a disadvantage.
yeah. Like it does well at what it does, but at the same time, for some people who are looking for more of an overarching story, it can get a little dull. But
Oh yeah, there are occasional multi-episode storylines,
yeah,
but it's largely episodic, which is helpful for an entertainment show for the
yeah,
most part.
yeah. I mean I watched I think probably 4 or 5 episodes of the first season and then uh, dropped behind. But that was actually mostly in part because I was actually watching it with my mum, who was a science teacher for biology teacher, in fact, for 16 to 18-year-olds, and she was actually really enjoying it and enjoying how accurate it was for the most part.
Oh, interesting.
but we just fell behind because she's a teacher and she has a lot to do most of the time.
Yeah, that'll do it. I do also have to say, like, I never thought I would ship a red blood cell with a white blood cell, but the show made it happen, I guess.
So I assume we can move on.
Yeah, Cells at Work Black, aka the dark and edgy cousin of Work.
Oh god, this is gonna be so bad in a way, but so amazing as well. Like, if what you found wrong with Cells at Work, the normal version, was that it was just like too light and happy, nothing really went wrong. Watch this one, because this as I said, this is Cells at Work's edgier cousin. That the body
Yeah,
that we're following is a lot unhealthier.
like it's a chain smoking alcoholic who is, I think, middle aged or something.
I'm not sure about
So
age. It certainly hasn't said it yet in the anime, but the two things that it mentioned specifically this episode were, as I said, smoking, uh, which took out a bunch of red blood cells.
yeah, well, I do expect they're at least in their 30s because it said it's been 10 years since they last smoked.
Yeah, at the very least 30s. You would like to think they're at the very least 30s. You don't know when they started.
Yeah.
We just don't know that much. But the other thing that they mentioned is the body is very stressed, which is not helping matters at all. But yeah, it's like Cells at Work. The environment is quite idealistic. This is a hellscape.
Oh, it is. There's a very strong parallel to Japanese black companies,
Mm,
which are known for being extremely predatory and awful to work at.
yeah. But the other really interesting thing about this is it's not afraid to do sort of the more adult stuff. So, for example, I believe episode 3, because I think episode 2 came out today, didn't it?
Yeah, episode 3 is going to be about erectile dysfunction, I
Yeah,
believe.
which is gonna be
That's fun.
yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a time. And I'm kind of looking forward to it because we're gonna meet sperm cells and it's gonna be fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. God.
I know it won't be like that, but the only thing I can think of when I think of meeting sperm cells inside the body is Futurama. Zoidberg
God.
riding riding a sperm cell and going yippee ki You'd never guess where I've been. It's just it's just hilarious. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. The other interesting thing about this is that the art style is slightly different. It's a lot sort of
It's much
sketchier.
harsher.
Yeah, it's harsher and it's sketchier, I would say. Like
Yeah.
you can definitely tell, where some lines are visible.
I believe the two Cells at Work series were handled by different studios too.
Mm.
I believe Cells at Work is still being handled by David Productions, and Code Black, I believe. Let me double check. That's by Lead Films.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, but yeah,
So yeah,
so
two different studios.
but yeah, I mean, Leading Films has managed to stay remarkably similar to the Cells at Work art style. As I said, there's just that
Yeah,
sketchier
that's
element
definitely positive.
that does help it, set itself apart from regular Cells at Work, and sort of, gives a hint at the content that's going to follow.
All right, moving on. The first show about a doctor we have this season.
I wouldn't necessarily say he has a medical license, but yes, we can call him a doctor.
I don't believe that man has a medical license.
Dr. Ramune. I was I the only one who watched this, or did you watch this?
No, I did not touch this.
Fair
It
enough.
did not appeal to me.
Fair enough. It was very different from what I expected. So, based on the PV, I came in expecting this to be basically Anime House, the medical starring Hugh Laurie.
Oh,
It was not that. It's it's this weird comedy thing. Like these diseases are not real diseases. The fucking
No.
the first case that the titular Dr. Ramune had to deal with was a child actress crying condiments.
Ew.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Uh, and then
Well, count me out of this thing then.
yeah, so I mean, she cried at various points. Mayonnaise, soy sauce. I think she did ketchup at one point. It was weird. And the preview for next episode is not any better. Uh, I believe it's
I'm
a.
afraid to ask.
I believe it's about a dude whose penis has turned into some sort of fish stick.
Oh my god, why are there two anime in a row that have weird stuff to do with penises?
I
Why?
don't know, but I'm actually kind of intrigued how they connect fish stick penis to some sort of emotional disease, because that's basically what is the cause. It's
Saying he has a fish dick.
I don't know, honestly. I think it's some sort of Japanese pun rather than the English fish dick pun that South Park went for. But basically, the reason in the first episode, the reason for the crying condiments was that the child actress was repressing her emotions to please her mother, that was basically reaping the rewards of having a famous child and being a
Oh, so an abusive dick.
basically, yeah. And for some reason, that repression manifested itself in crying condiments, which, uh, uh, but there was a happy ending. The mother chose to give up all her material goods to save the kid, and those two, the doctor and his I wouldn't say laconic, but fairly stoic assistant, ate bentos together watching cherry blossoms. So hooray for happy endings. But yeah, I'd be surprised if this has much of an overarching story, based on what I've seen.
It sounds fairly episodic.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to something that's
A different doctor.
much better, Doctor.
Far better doctor, yes. Doctor Stone
Dr.
Season
Stone.
2. The Stone Wars, yeah. So I think
just found out this is only 11 episodes.
that's fair, to be honest, because
No, this will definitely wrap up the arc in the manga without overextending past it.
Yeah.
I feel.
Because I'm just not sure in the arc after it where's a particularly good stopping point that's sort of where they could reach sort of 12 or 13 episodes as well.
Yeah, no, it just would not work.
Yeah.
But I'm glad this is a good length for it.
Mm.
Funny thing is that all three Shonen Jump series that are airing this season only have 11 episodes this season.
Promised Neverland, Doctor Stone, and
Excellent.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Has that only got 11 episodes?
I had 13 last core and it was slated for 24 total.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, Dr. Stone picks up with a little bit of a mini recap told by Gen. Not our Gen, the Gen in the series.
Gen Asagiri.
Yeah. It is great as always.
I do love Gen. He is always fantastic. Just as the the guy who was not friends with Senku beforehand, is not used to his craziness, and was also, alive, back in the day, and so knows the insanity of what Senku is actually doing.
Yeah.
And
It's great to have him in the foil.
Yeah. But, yeah, this was I would say it's a slow episode, not necessarily bad.
It's the calm before the storm, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. It'll definitely start to pick up next episode. The key thing from this episode is that Gen came up with quite an underhanded plan to use the recording they have of the singer Lillian basically
Steal Sukasa's army out from under him.
yeah, basically convince Tsukasa's army that hey, over in America everything is fine, not knowing that even now America is burning, let alone 3,000 however many years in the future. uh, but yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
my favorite part of the episode was when Senku was explaining the blueprints for the vacuum packing ramen machine to Kasuki, and you just zoom out, you don't hear what Senku is saying, and then both Senku and Chrome are knocked over by Kasuki fucking going super builder.
Oh, and he shreds his clothes in the process.
It's one of my favorite parts of Dr. Stone, just fucking Kasuki just destroying his clothes every time he hears a fun invention for him to make.
Oh yeah, no, he just loves crafting.
And he's very good at it.
Yeah, overall this was a good episode for just like reintroducing everything and getting things going for things to escalate.
Better than I can say for some season 2 premieres, which we will get to. Moving on. Oh, no.
Clear anime of the season.
Both of our favorite animes premieres that we watched. The Glorious Exile. So, for those of you unaware, this is another Crunchyroll original, except unlike all of the other Crunchyroll originals that at least had some base competency for most of its elements, this has no competency. They apparently just gave this to a blind man and told him to make an anime out of it.
I've seen machinima from the mid-2000s that look better than this.
Oh, this is peak really early 2000s PS2 graphics.
Oh god.
So, I did summaries for all the shows that I watched. Maybe to say them on here, but it turned out we weren't going to do that. But they helped me remember what happened anyway. The only one I'm insisting on saying is the Exarm one, because I'm quite proud of it. So, in this Exarm premiere, a dumbass CG model gets himself run over following his 2D model brother's advice, wakes up to find himself a brain in a case, crashes a smuggler ship with the help of 2 other CG models, and defeats an even worse CG model, only to be told he's an enemy of mankind. To which I agree, nothing that soulless should exist. Also, they literally just fucking pasted a 2D model onto a 3D background at one point. I think that's as accurate a summarization of the premiere as I can get.
Yeah.
Without, feeling like I'm misinterpreting what happened. You notice that I didn't include anything about the story, and that's because even though I've watched this episode twice, I couldn't tell you what the story was about. Because I was too busy laughing at how terrible these graphics are.
They're
so
awful.
bad. Honestly, just watch the first episode. Just watch the first episode, and you will have
I would
enough.
advise to watch it with friends, because it is always fun to roast things with friends.
I had fun on my own, so do you.
But it would make for a fun viewing party experience.
Yeah, but just like they clearly could not be bothered making 3D models of characters that would only have one scene, and that just made the contrast between them and the 3D models even worse, because the 2D models weren't horrific.
No, the 2D models were actually decent looking. Unfortunately,
the 3D models were soulless. The 3D models were absolutely soulless. One of the female models literally had the same expression for 95% of her on-screen appearance, and just barely ever blinked. It was just so horrific.
Awful, Jesus Christ.
But I'm still watching 3 episodes of this just because I want to be able to talk about it in my end of year review and roast it once more. Because
honestly, this is a great roast party showing thing.
I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't call this bad. This is not like this offends me bad. This is hilarious bad.
Oh yeah, no. This is the stuff that memes are made of.
Yeah, this is the space fisher waifus of its season, which
Yeah.
is a whole other topic that we won't get into.
We will hopefully have an episode where we talk about truly awful anime.
We might get that, yeah. That'd be fun. I think we should move on. There's only so much we can say about. Oh no, the last thing I want to say is that the fucking villain for the episode, his gimmick was basically phasing through stuff. First,
too bad his assets didn't render properly sometimes.
Yeah, when he phased through walls, his face didn't render properly before he went through. So there was half a second of his face just completely messed up, and it's just the best. The other thing is that when he does his phasing against like bullets, they had like a scene where he was phasing through bullets with his hand out. The issue was one of the bullets went through his chest right next to his arm, but the like effect of the phasing was in front of his hand, which was outstretched. And it's just so bad. God. Clearly, nobody working on this knows how animation works.
No. Definitely not.
They tried to make the Matrix and the anime Matrix, and it failed miserably. Anyway.
Speaking of sci-fi weirdness, let's move on to
Gekidol,
the first of several idol shows on here.
This confused me.
I think there are like 4 idol shows on this list.
Yes,
Jesus
there are.
Christ.
There are.
Jesus.
This one confused me.
No.
I had no idea what the fuck
weird.
happened in the second half.
No. Oh, the second half. Did you watch the double length episode?
I did not watch the double length episode, which confused me even more because people were talking about the second half of the double length episode, which is like a play about a zombie apocalypse, and that just confused me even more because I'm just like, I didn't see anything about a zombie apocalypse. Did I miss a post-credit scene or something?
No, so that was actually OVA.
Yeah.
Called, I think it was Allison Deadly School that was attached at the end, which is in-universe performance.
Yeah, so that confused me even more, but it's just like, fucking, there's apparently an android, and I'm not entirely sure if people are aware that it's an android. Looking into said android's eyes made the lead fucking collapse for some reason. There's a fucking dude just watching them do plays ominously. Like, it's really weird. And they're just not mentioning the apocalyptic event that destroyed part of the city and left a giant fucking hole.
Yeah. Now, I think it's best if we just move on from this because I don't really know what else to say.
I have no idea what the fuck's going on in this, so yeah.
I will dropping after episode 1, to be honest with you.
I'll probably continue to episode 3, give it a chance to sort of try and rescue what it's done. I'm not hopeful though. This is.
Oh, it's not the worst thing I'm dropping. There are worse.
Oh, there are definitely worse things that I'm dropping. Yeah. But the next show is not one of them. Moving on.
The next show is very good.
The next show is fucking fantastic. I love it to bits already. I only watched the first episode today and I'm in love with it. So it's basically...
It is wonderful.
Just the concept alone is hilarious. God is creating the world.
Internet memes.
God is creating the world. Got 2 animals, got bored of it, and decided to outsource it.
It's amazing.
It's just such a dumb and hilarious concept.
And all the characters are really funny.
They
just play off each other so well.
Oh, the chemistry between them is really, really good. Like, you can tell...
Glasses Dude and Purple-Haired Lady have a rivalry because Glasses Dude likes snakes and Purple Lady likes...
Is that a girl?
Yeah,
I thought that was a guy.
Nope. She is a trans woman.
Fair enough. I will modify my language to suit.
She likes birds and he likes snakes, and they have a rivalry over it in one of the episode segments that ultimately result in her creating secretary bird to kill his snakes.
Which just fucking kicked the shit out of the snakes.
it's great. Like each episode is divided into 3 segments.
Yeah.
It which is really fun because like each segment is very different from the other ones, and
So
each segment focuses on different characters.
yeah, so just to go through the segments for the episode one. Segment one, um, they created giraffes. Wakari Mas, of course. Uh,
Kaimas.
uh, segment two was, as you said, Kanamori and Mizushima getting into a war over snakes and birds. Uh, Meanwhile, fucking, I think it was Kimura made a version of a frog. And
Yeah.
then in segment three, Kimura, the resident gourmet, wanted to create a new tasty animal for him to eat.
Yeah.
Which results in the creation of armadillos and anteaters, but also the lively sausage, which I think is
Didn't he also create the fucking Glyptodon, which ran him over?
uh I don't believe.
Someone created a Glyptodon, it ran over.
Yeah, I think that was the engineer Higuchi.
Yeah, I love Higuchi. She's great.
Higuchi was really good, but it was just the fucking lively sausage, which is literally just a sausage that bounces up and down.
Great.
I thought they were gonna
Also,
turn it into like a worm or something, but they never did. They just cooked the fucking things and ate them with
like,
beer.
this will quickly go extinct.
Yeah.
Oh, and also there's the head of the design team who is just obsessed with making horses.
Yeah, because
and variations thereof.
he was the mastermind behind the horse, which is considered a masterpiece. So everything he makes is now horse based, and that's how Snake started. By the way, they basically went take a horse, remove its front legs, remove its back legs, and what do you have? A snake. It's just.
Just the galaxy brain logic of this show is
Yeah.
great.
Oh, and
So,
and
yeah.
in the first segment, they were trying to create an animal that could eat leaves from the top of trees. Horse Dude came up with Pegasus, which was shot down because to make it feasible, to make a flying horse feasible, it'd have to be incredibly muscular and shitting all the time. That's the kind of toilet humor I can get behind.
It's great.
It really is just amazing.
So in case you didn't get it, take this as a strong endorsement from the both of us.
Yeah, no, this is going to be one of my favorites of the season. I can tell.
Oh, it's easily top 5 for me already. It's good.
It's really fun.
Unfortunately, the next show on our list is not nearly as good.
No, it is not. I did not watch this. I did not want to subject myself to it.
Harem trash. You hate harem trash.
Oh, I absolutely do.
And you are completely valid for doing so because this show is mid as fuck. Like, even the fan service is really just bland and tame for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, they try doing a kissing scene during the episode and it's just, like, incredibly lifeless.
Oh, good. More soulless models. Great. Yeah, that's what we needed this season.
Not that bad, but it's still, like, they clearly did not know how to make it look in any way attractive, and it kind of just falls super flat.
Yeah. I mean,
also, like, there's really not much to say about it other than, like, it's just really trashy. It's a fantasy series, but it's not, like, there are better fantasy series this season.
Oh, there are far better fantasy series.
There's one that's way further down the list that I imagine we're both going to talk up a lot more than this thing.
I mean, yes. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it. But it was I imagine it was a lot better than this.
Yeah, no, much better. This is trash. If you enjoy trash, go ahead and knock yourself out. But as for me, I might give it 3 episodes if I'm feeling particularly bored. This show is called The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter. And, yeah, we forgot to mention the title. But it's trashy, and it is really, if you are a pure degenerate and you like your harem trash, go for it. Otherwise, there's really nothing on offer here. It's
Mm.
yeah.
Move on.
Moving on.
Moving on to something very good.
Really fucking good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
This is a very good rom-com. Like, no joke. One of the best I've seen in a long time. Like, best since Kaguya, I'd say.
It helps that Miyamura is genuinely really good looking.
He's good looking, and he's also just such a wonderful dumbass.
He is such a dork, and I love him. But I also love Hori. Like, she is...
Hori has a good... She's a good counterpoint to him, because she's savvy, and she's also... she really does not like putting up with bullshit, but she's also very... She can also be flustered pretty easily, which is fun. But they both have such a great relationship already right at the start of the show.
The chemistry between them.
It's completely believable that they will be dating in like 5 episodes.
The chemistry between them is really good. But, you know...
It is some of the best chemistry I've seen in a while.
But, I mean, there's other parts to this episode as well, because... I don't remember what his name was. Toru, purple-haired guy on the right of the visual, has a crush on Hori. Because, to be fair, who wouldn't? She is adorable and, you know, has a really good,
I am
nice
also
personality.
riding if they don't kiss by season's end. Yes.
I mean, yes. I mean, yes. If this turns out to be another Adachi and Shimamura, I am going to be soured on rom-coms for a while.
Yeah.
Because that one was just frustrating. But yeah, so the subplot of this episode is that Toru has a crush on Hori. Talked to Miyamura about it, which was a hilarious scene.
Right.
And then even better is Toru asks Hori out, gets turned down. Hori comes back and has a go at Miyamura for Miyamura basically saying that they wouldn't make a good couple because of their difference in reputation at school. But at some point, Hori gets the misconception that Toru has a crush on Miyamura, which results in...
And Miyamura's objection isn't that he isn't gay; it's that they wouldn't make a good couple.
Yeah, no, I'm headcanoning that he's a bi-idol now, and that you cannot take that away from me.
Total bicon.
But it's even funnier because at the end of the episode, the next day that they go to school, fucking Toru walks up to Miyamura and starts crying at him about, you know, being turned down by Hori, and the girl's just watching this, just like, is that a confession? And it's just, oh. But the MVP of this episode was, of course, Sota, Hori's little brother.
Yeah.
For
Such a great matchmaker already.
Just fucking running into Miyamura, getting a bloody nose, and then dragging him home, and insisting that he keeps coming round.
He's great. Love the little kid. Anyways, I also got to mention how well animated this stuff is, because this is absolutely beautiful. I
mean, it's you know, it's slice of life rom-com. It doesn't need to have, you know, spectacular visuals, but it is, for what it is, it has very, very nice looking visuals.
There's this particular sequence where Miyamura is running to an egg sale, and
more on eggs later.
Oh yeah, it's egg time. Anyways, he's running over to the egg sale, and we just see this several slow-mo shots of him stripping off clothing because it's too hot for him to run in it. And he just leaps the fence, and the entire sequence is just really well animated.
Oh, it is.
Like, you can see the details in his motion and just everything going on there, and it's just really good looking.
Really fluid looking. And that's, you know, that's really well done. Moving on to something that I was intending to watch, but got about...
Because of your arch nemesis.
In fairness, it was not the entire reason. I was already not that jazzed about watching it. Like, I wasn't that enthusiastic about it. But then I heard that fucking voice of Kenjiro Tsuda and went, you know what? I'm not that jazzed about it anyway. I can get away with not watching this.
He will
Hortensia
forever
Saga.
be your arch nemesis.
I just want a season without him, okay? I just want one season. And for the most part, I might actually get that.
No, it turns out the teacher was actually voiced by Suda.
Are you fucking joking me? God, motherfucker!
The thing is, he just wasn't credited on Mal, so that's how
I
didn't
know.
realize
That's why I asked, because I checked it and saw that the teacher wasn't there. So I decided to ask somebody because I was like, because literally I heard his voice and went, "That motherfucker! He better not be here."
Suda is everywhere, Mill. You
God.
cannot escape the Suda.
God, 2 shows now because he's the fucking narrator and Cells at Work Black as well. God, fucking damn it! Leave me alone, you son of a bitch!
At least
Take
he's a minor character in Horimiya.
I know, but still, just leave me the fuck alone. I don't even care if you're in. I don't even care if you want to voice act in every season until you die. Just don't do it in the shows that I'm watching, please.
Anyways, on to the actual topic at hand.
You talk about this. You talk about this because I obviously have no fucking clue.
Hortensia Saga is actually not too bad. It's pretty standard fantasy series about a princess who goes into hiding and disguises her sex in order to better help that. The guy in the center is basically the person she squires for, and has been friends with for a few years at the start of the main thrust of the story.
Yeah.
And there is definitely probably going to be a romance between the two because, let's be real, that's how these stories always go.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, they do have some good, believable chemistry at least. She comes across as the slightly hot-headed, gutsy squire, whereas he's the more reserved knight who is trying to step into his deceased father's shoes. But
what's the animation like?
Nothing spectacular, but nothing particularly bad or off model either. It's very competent.
But at the same time, episode 1, we'll have to see how it goes throughout the season. Because
I watched episode 2 as well, and it was also competently animated. There is some CG in it for like monsters and stuff, which is not surprising, but it's not nearly as abysmally bad as X-Arm, so...
I mean, that's not a high bar.
It's like a couple orders of magnitude above that.
But yeah, I was just asking because obviously we've seen shows that looked really well animated in episode 1, and then fucking dropped off a cliff a few episodes later.
Yeah. No, this seems like it's pretty competent. It's not too bad. I enjoy it well enough that if the third episode is as good or even slightly better than the last 2, then I will probably keep watching it through to the end.
Interesting.
Unless it does something really dumb or annoying, in which case I will drop it.
I mean, you'll never get me to watch any more of this, but, that's...
You didn't even watch the full episode, did you?
No, I've literally watched like 2 minutes. As soon as I heard... As soon as I heard Suda's voice, I went, nah. I'm not that jazzed. I don't want to really hear Suda all season if I don't have to.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's a prominent supporting character in this.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I stopped.
Yeah.
Moving on to the
second Idol show.
Yeah, moving on to the first of 3 Idol shows in a fucking row.
Damn it.
I Star Chew.
Letter I.
Yeah, which is male idol show. I watched this. It was not particularly good. In fairness, there was a performance scene right at the start that I think was also maybe the OP. I'm not 100% sure, but it was the dancing in it was not CG, and yet it was really well done. Like, I actually really liked the animation for it. Unfortunately, throughout this premiere, we are introduced to probably a good dozen to 2 dozen characters none of whom's names I particularly remember. Um,
That's the problem with idol shows with large casts.
I don't even really remember their gimmicks. uh, all I know is about the three main characters that are on the key visual. Middle boy is energetic. Uh, boy on the left is quiet and tall. Boy on the right is small and quiet. Yes.
Not gonna lie, I can kind of see why they would market this so heavily.
Mm.
Definitely some estrogen bait right there.
Oh, absolutely. Uh, the other thing of note is that the principal for the school is a fucking bear.
What?
He's a bear called Principal Kuma, because of
God,
course.
fuck. See, every time I hear the word Kuma on its own, I think Bartholomew Kuma from One Piece.
Mm. Well, they said his name before they showed him, and I went, you know what? If the principal is actually a bear, I'll give him some props. And he was a bear, so fair enough. I'll give you some props for that, iStarChew. But I'm not watching any more of you because I mean, the singing wasn't even that particularly good. You have to like the idol shows that I've watched. So Zombieland Saga 22/7. I think those are the only two I've actually watched more than a couple of episodes of. You know, the songs in there were actually catchy and actually made me
Zombieland
want to.
Saga had some bops in it.
Zombieland Saga was really fucking good. I mean, it helps that it started with in episode 2 with a fucking rap battle, uh,
Oh yeah.
which is still fucking incredible. Because not only I'm fairly sure the Japanese rhymed, but kudos to the Crunchyroll translators because the subtitles rhymed as well.
It's great.
Uh,
Watch Zombieland Saga.
Watch
It's not
Zombieland
this well.
Saga. It's honestly quite hilarious.
Also has the best opening scene in any anime I have ever seen in my life, and I will not change that opinion.
Honestly, it's certainly top 3 for me. It's so fucking good. It genuinely made me rock back in my chair, but I won't say any more because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's genuinely incredible.
Anyways, anything else to say on this generic idol garbage?
No, not really. Move on to more generic idol garbage, I assume.
Yeah, idols is just really bad.
Isn't it the 3D
it's,
one?
Yes, it's 5 minutes of weakly rendered 3D models standing in a room talking about getting an idol venue, and that's it.
I mean, at least it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, but like, how are you supposed to fit an actual? They're apparently trying to go for an actual storyline, and how do you fit that in a total of 60 minutes across 12 episodes?
Ah.
I don't fucking know either. And I don't plan to find out because I am dropping this hard.
I do not blame you. It seems like shit.
It's badly animated. It's not a good story, and it's just it's dumb.
Yeah.
Also, for some reason, like one of those talking Maori head mini wooden block statues talks, and I am curious as to why or how that happened. And there is no explanation for it at all.
Ah, so it's Big Bird and Gymnastic Samurai again. I still don't know how that fucking bird talked, but yes.
Yeah. So yeah, no. Pass on this. It's bad.
Trifecta of idle garbage coming up.
Third time is actually the charm with this one.
Fair enough.
So the next one is Idly Pride, which starts off with the typical idol roll call before spending almost the entire rest of the episode in a flashback to the rise of the center character, an idol named Mana, and her manager, her producer, who is also her classmate in high school, who it's hinted at that she has a crush on.
Fair
which
enough.
is why she gets him to be her producer. And honestly, the relationship that's built up throughout the flashback is really sweet. It helps endear both characters to the audience, and it makes them it helps make them both really likable as Mana rises up to stardom by just being a good idol, I guess. And unfortunately, right before the day of the finals, can you guess what happens?
No.
Mana dies in a car accident.
Oh, fair enough.
And then she comes back as a ghost to haunt her not boyfriend.
Great. Sounds compelling.
Honestly, like, it could be interesting.
Mm.
My issue is that, like, I'm fairly sure that as an idol show, it's going to spend most of the rest of its run focusing on the idols who are actually in the idol roll call,
Yeah.
aka not Mana, who was a good character. So I am concerned. I am giving this 3 episodes just to see if it makes anything of the ghost Mana part of the premise, or if it turns out to just be like a bait and switch to get you interested in the other idols who are not nearly as interesting.
Fair enough.
But like, to be fair to the other idols, they have only been on screen collectively for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to?
So who knows? Maybe this will actually be decent.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be another 22/7.
Could be. Hopefully. Let's talk about something that's really good.
Yeah, this is. I honestly think this is going to be a favorite of the season for me. Commando Ghen.
It's easily one of my top 5.
So the basic premise is that a boy out in the countryside, Dorotabo, bonds with a detective called Inugami from Tokyo, who is there to find out what's killing Dorotabo's family's livestock. It turns out both Dorotabo and Inugami are both. I mean, we'll go with yokai.
They're part yokai.
We'll go with yokai as the word. I mean, it's the subtitles changed a couple of times from ghoul and spectre and whatever. But yokai is usually the term that anime uses. And Inugami takes Dorotabo, who was basically ostracized and neglected by his family, in and takes him to Tokyo.
Also, Doritabo's cousin is a piece of shit.
Oh, that kid was a fucking asshole. So was the auntie, to be fair.
The aunt was bad, but the cousin was an actual bullying shithead.
I mean, the aunt put a fucking hit out on. Well, his true name is Kanabe. He was the boy in the censor was nicknamed Dorotabo, because of how he smelled. But his real name is Kanabe. But yes, the auntie fucking put a hit out on Kanabe. Like, come on.
What a dick.
As bad as Yatoro was, and Yatoro was bad, like, that still doesn't sort of beat primary caregiver putting a hit out.
He is just a kid.
Yeah.
He's a shitty kid, but he is just a kid. Regardless, this is very good because I do love me some good supernatural action.
And the action was very good.
It was brief, but I imagine we're going to get much more as the season progresses.
The other cool thing is that Inugami's power for now seems to be fucking just manifesting a handgun, which, you know...
Yeah, materializing a handgun from nothing is a pretty fucking dope power.
Yeah. And I just love fucking, like, protagonists using handguns. Like, it would be even better if it was a revolver, but I'll just take a normal handgun.
That's because you read the Dresden Files. You're biased.
I just love revolvers in general. It's partly because of Dresden Files and partly just because revolvers like look pretty unique and are cool.
Well, revolvers are kind of just cool. So yeah, I will give you that.
But the episode ends with Kanabe meeting 2 other, I assume, youths. They look to be about the same height as Kanabe.
They look about the same age. They're the ones in the top and top left of the visual.
Yeah, so it's...
the white-haired girl and the light brown-haired boy.
Is that brown? I thought it was grey. Can't really tell.
It's hard to say. It's hard to tell.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This could be really good.
It's also a promising start at the very least.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to
Database,
one of the.
database.
There's no more database. But yeah, one of the good isekai offerings this season, Log Horizon. Season three.
Season 3, yeah.
Yeah, the season 3 opener is very much about. Well, it does not really stop to recap you. It just dives into the setup for the next storyline. I'm not going to detail that here because I don't want to spoil people who want to go into the series fresh. But it is a pretty good opener if a tad functional, and it does a good job of setting things in motion for the primary storyline of the season, or at least the first half of the season.
Yeah.
It'll be see where things go from here. Have you watched Log Horizon, Mill?
No, I've not.
Damn shame. It's very good.
I'm sure it is, but isekai.
Like I said, this is one of the good ones.
I know. Same with ReZero, but I'd have to catch up, and that's difficult to do.
That's fair. I mean, at worst, you could try watching the first season a little bit, since that's now back and available on legal streaming, thank God.
On Funimation, I believe.
On Funny, yes. But yeah, if you like the first 2 seasons of Log Horizon, you'll like this. It keeps the same animation style and such from the previous seasons, and even though the opening is quite literally different.
I do like that. I do like that.
It is.
Not only
It
did
is a funny meta title.
Not only did they
not
only did they fucking use a different song to database, they used a song called different just to really hammer in that change.
Anyways, it's still worth watching, even if there is no database.
No database, no database.
All right, moving on to a different isekai that I am much less fond of. Mushoku Tensei: Jobless Reincarnation.
I refuse to watch this. I want that on the record.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Let me just say this. If the protagonist were anywhere near as good as the animation was, I would have a much easier time recommending this. Unfortunately, the protagonist is a little shit.
Isn't it another anime where basically you make Mineta your main character?
Oh, yeah.
And it's fucking terrible.
He's a 34-year-old pervert reincarnated in the body of a literal infant. And it is exactly as gross as you think it sounds.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because the animation quality and the actual setting stuff and the rest of the cast are all good so far. The big thing dragging it down is that the protagonist is a massive, annoying pervert, and unfortunately, while it doesn't get brought up constantly, you're given regular reminders that he is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it is a waste of a perfectly good, solid animation budget on a shitty protagonist.
Do we want to move on?
Yes, let's move on to something I have no problem showing for.
I found this for Other Side Picnic is the show we're talking about now. I found the first episode quite... Other Side.
Yeah, Other Side.
I found this first episode kind of confusing.
I mean, it's supposed to be. It starts in medias res for a reason.
Yeah. Not to mention...
The second episode...
It's not helped by naming the main monster they fight this episode Wiggle Waggle.
Yeah. No, that is not help. That does not help a lot. But I will say that the second episode does help contextualize some things.
Okay.
And also has a much better central monster to it.
That's good.
Like, the second episode has a genuinely horrifying central monster, which is just like, eep.
I mean, to be fair, the Wiggle Waggle was fairly horrific.
Yeah. No, the second one is worse. Much, much worse.
Okay. I mean, they showed hints at fucking horrifying monsters when they were in that elevator.
Oh yeah, that was a fun sequence.
Confusing as hell, but a fun sequence.
Don't let it in. Whatever you don't let it in. Oh, God, strike! Close the door. Close the door. Close the door.
I mean, the one that was interesting was, this place seems a little darker than before. Eyes just pop up and just starts running towards him. I'm gonna close that door.
Also, the two leads have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh! I will say the second episode is gayer than the first episode.
I mean, the first episode was fairly gay.
The second episode is much gayer. Trust me.
Interesting.
Like, there is definitely a lot of subtext in this.
Hopefully it becomes text.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do have some foreknowledge from the light novels. Anyways, but yeah, it's a very good sci-fi story with strong Yuri hints that are very likely to bloom into something more. And if you are down for any of that, definitely check this out because it is pretty good, even if there is some occasional janky CGI in here.
Yeah, that was also an issue that sort of took me out at a couple of points.
I will say that the CGI is brief, so it's not too bad. It's only like a few seconds at a time.
It's just really weirdly done is the issue. It's just like, it just seems to happen for random scenes. Like, they just sort of ran out of time to animate it properly.
That might be the case. I don't know. Regardless, it does look good otherwise. Like, some of the animation is actually really solid.
Yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable premiere. I'm not sure sort of where on my list it would be. I mean, obviously, Commando Ghen is right at the top. Hortensia Heaven's Design Team rounds out
I think this would be like 5 or 6 on my list.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's probably top of the middle of the pack shows.
Sounds about right.
I wouldn't say it's in top tier for me, but it's certainly better than sort of the middling shows.
Yeah, I'd say give this 3 episodes to see how it feels for you.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's, if nothing else, it is very interesting and has a very interesting concept, even if I was left very confused by the end of the episode.
Well, speaking of confusing, we have Gohan's anime next.
Project Scarred, Scar on the Praetor. You're going to be quite unhappy when I say I actually liked this, aren't you?
God fucking damn it, Bill.
I'm one of those people that doesn't actually mind Gohan's anime.
Wow.
Yeah. I watched the what was the fucking sequel to the bad one that came out like a year or two ago?
Wise, I think it was. I think it was Wise or something. It was WZ.
Wiz. It was W''Z. I watched 3 episodes of that, and if I'm honest, the only reason I dropped it is because I found out it was actually a sequel series, and I had no idea about sort of the character. Well, it wasn't the only reason. Gohan's does some things very well. Honestly, the animation for the most part is actually good. It does action really well.
Background and camera direction, that's the big issue with Gohan's.
Gohan's doesn't know when to leave well enough alone, is the issue, and it goes over the top for a lot of stuff. The other issue it has is that whoever they have on their writing staff does not know how to write. Like, this character work in this episode was not a strong suit, if I'm brutally honest. Not to mention... Does
that surprise you at all?
Not really, but at the same time, I still vaguely enjoyed this. Like, I would say that in terms of, like, the animation being too busy, it was better than Wiz and probably Handshakers. I don't know, I didn't watch Handshakers.
I mean, say that like that's a high bar.
Yes, it's not a high bar at all. But, I mean, the characters have it in them to be interesting. I just don't think they did an especially good job with them. We will see if that continues. The other positive is, again, we mentioned this for Commando Ghen. I like protagonists with pistols, especially revolvers, and this is one of those shows. the fucking pro tag just has a Dirty Harry revolver, and I like it. Uh, I mean, the other thing is that it's using scards, which it hasn't explained what they are yet. They seem to have some sort of power base. I'm not sure exactly what sort of power base, and it seems to be transferable, because the guy who had scarred powers and was the hero of the region passed it on to the protagonist and then died. Meanwhile, the protagonist, who had been shot like twice, survived. So, not entirely sure what the power system is right now, but honestly, I'm gonna give this 3 episodes.
Interesting.
I want to see where it goes, because it could be really interesting, and I actually do vaguely like the animation.
Okay. Well, let's move on to a show that we both like.
Both very much like.
Oh God, yes.
The Promised Neverland
Neverland
Season 2.
You know, if it wasn't for the CGI abomination, the premiere would be pretty much flawless for me.
Yeah. The thing that I want to mention is the scene at the end. So, throughout the episode, the kids who managed to escape from Gracefield are, continuing to escape.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yes, spoilers for Season 1. The kids escape. And they're trying to get to the place that Willie Minerva left for them. They're chased by a large wild demon. Most of the kids get away when Ray acts as a decoy, but the wild demon is then taken out by pursuers from Gracefield who corner Ray. Ray is rescued by a figure on a horse. The others are rescued after Emma collapses, because, again, spoilers, she cut her ear off in the finale for Season 1, and that doesn't tend to go well.
Yeah, no.
And it became infected, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, because the amount of blood on the bandage steadily grows, and the amount of sweat marks on her face steadily grows throughout the episode, which is really nice attention to detail, I thought.
Oh yeah.
But they're saved by a mysterious girl.
Good figure. Yeah.
The final scene is when Ray and Emma wake up alone, come across the girl figure, and discover that she's actually a demon. And just the atmosphere when Ray asks, "What is a demon doing helping humans?" Because it's in a dark cavern. You've got the hooded male figure on the horse behind them, just stood there in the shadows, and you can, with a spear as well.
And he has a huge ass spear.
Yeah, and just the atmosphere. I mean, it's been little over a year since. Well, no, 2 years.
No, 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. Yes, it is 2 years since last. Well, not 2 years for me, because I watched the second half of Promised Neverland, winter 2019. When I say winter, I mean December 2019. I should add, because I fell behind on it first time. So it's been a little bit less of a gap for me, but the way Promised Neverland does atmosphere, with the music, with the visuals, with the voice acting, is so well done. I absolutely adore it. It's such a strong suit of the anime, and it makes the anime better than the manga, which is no mean feat, because the manga is really fucking good.
Yeah, it really is. There's nothing really left to say beyond the Promised Neverland is really good, and if you like the first season, you'll like the second. It's got some good animation, CGI demons aside. It has great storyboarding, great direction, soundtrack, characters, and so on. Overall, it's just a good time, and worth checking out.
And Emma remains one of my favorite shonen pro tags of all time.
Oh, same. She's great.
I'm so glad that the the phone charm I have is of Emma.
Yeah, she's a she's a fun character.
I really do love her. What I'm waiting for is her outfit for the arc after this.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun time.
Like it's
Next arc is gonna be fun.
the next arc is going to be fun.
But
It won't be this season, um,
oh,
season
definitely.
3, but like that's my favorite Emma look, based on the colored cover for one of the manga volumes, and I cannot wait to get to it.
It's gonna be fun.
Hmm.
Yeah. Moving on from Promised Neverland to another sequel, the Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2. I know Mill did not watch this because he hates harem series. But I did because I enjoy several of them, even if it is a guilty pleasure in many cases.
He's harem trash.
Oh, knock it off.
Oh, like you
Even though
wouldn't
it's
say
not.
I'm sports trash.
You are absolutely sports trash.
Just like your harem trash.
Guilty. Anyways, this continues to be good. It has switched studios between seasons, and so the artwork looks a bit different. I think the artwork of this season is a bit closer to the manga.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it still looks good. The animation is nice, and the characters remain interesting with their varied dynamics. I do appreciate how the Nakanos all being siblings helps to make theirs a different dynamic from most harem stories, because it adds they have their own pre-existing relationships with one another rather than them all being formed around a protagonist,
Yeah.
which is definitely a good addition.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
But yeah, overall, if you like the first season, you'll like this. It's good stuff. Probably it is definitely not my favorite sequel this season because there's a lot of good sequels out, so it has tough competition, but it's still a fun time.
I mean,
And it has gotten some good laughs out of me.
we've passed my favorite sequels.
Promised Neverland, yes.
Promised Neverland is my favorite. Closely followed probably by Dr. Stone.
Honestly, you're not really watching a lot of sequels this season.
I'm watching 4 of them.
4, I think.
4 of them, yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching like twice as many as you are, dude. There's a lot of sequels out this season. It's crazy.
This is a very sequel-heavy season. Moving on to
well,
yet another sequel.
Sequel bonanza up in here. This one is Re:Zero, Season 2, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, this one picks up literally right where the first half of Season 2 left off.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into details because spoilers, and also because I want Mill to actually watch this series.
Again, if you can convince another person to go on to do a podcast about it, I will watch it to make up the numbers. You only need one person.
Challenge fucking accepted. But yeah, no, this is also good content, and I will not go into detail to avoid spoiling people, but there is a lot of character progression for Subaru so far this season, and a surprising focus on Otto, who is a very minor character in Season 1, and who I did not expect to get as much focus as he did.
Fair enough.
But he is actually he plays a fairly interesting role in this opener, so it is very nice to see more of him in such a capacity.
Good for him.
I can't really talk more about it without spoiling things, unfortunately. And this is a show where spoilers actually mean a lot.
Yeah.
So, all I can say is I strongly recommend this series overall, and if you've gotten far enough to actually be current with it and watching this as it airs, you know what you're about, and you're already enjoying the shit out of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time.
Yeah. So, moving
All
on.
right. Yep.
Discount Yuri on Ice. It had to be said. It had to be
I
said.
mean, that's what it is.
I mean, it's nowhere near as good as Yuri on Ice based on this first episode. Yuri on Ice was
Uriel
Yuri on Ice was really interesting based on its first episode. When I watched its first
Ice is a
episode,
high bar.
mainly based on recommendations from Little Karibo, I wasn't sure what to expect from Yuri on Ice, but I was hooked by the end of the first episode. This did not do as good a job. So first things first, it starts off with the protagonist as an 11-year-old. His parents have died. They were
Oh,
also
jeez.
literally about 2 months before. They were also his skating coaches, and he challenges his rival, basically saying, "I will beat you, or I will never skate again." And he
What
loses.
the fuck?
Yeah! Not a smart move from that 11-year-old. Not a smart move.
I mean, he's 11, but at the same time, dude, why?
In fairness, it was sort of implied that he was doing it so that he wouldn't have to remind his grandparents, who are now looking after him, of his parents.
Yeah,
Given...
but still, like,
Oh, yeah,
really
no, it's still a fucking dumb move. It's still a dumb as shit move, but there is at least an attempt to justify it. I still think it's stupid, and it's, like, not great. Years later, high school, the... Again, this is very much more soap opera-y than Yuri on Ice, just like 2.43 was with Haikyuu, because the protagonist, Maeshima, is confronted by his rival's half-brother, who convinces Maeshima to restart skating to take on the rival.
Please tell me the rival isn't a stoic asshole.
Stoic asshole is about his characterization at the moment.
Damn it, that's all rival characters.
Yeah, that's all the bad rival characters.
I mean, not all good rival characters are not that trope, so...
You can be stoic, it's the asshole bit. Because I went into this in my end of year review. I think sports anime has to be very careful with its antagonists. Because if you make them too unlikable, it becomes very obvious that they're going to be beaten. Because there's no other way of ending it. If you just make...
Yeah, isn't that an issue with the next one on the list?
Very possibly. We'll see. I mean, we might as well move on. I've got nothing really to say about this. The ice skating was good. We'll see if it manages to keep it up when there's more than one person on the ice. Because this is about a form of team skating that was apparently just created for the anime. So we'll see how the visuals keep up. I'll give it 3 episodes. I like my sports. And
Sports trash, much.
oh no, I absolutely am. I fully admit it. Over the summer I've read so many sports series, pretty much all of the sports series on Viz's website because I could.
God damn.
I think I only missed maybe 1 or 2, but they were the short ones. I made sure to read all the long ones. So what was that? Kuroko no Basket, Prince of Tennis, Haikyuu, obviously. I think there was only 1
We
or
can
2
talk
more.
about this later.
Yeah, well,
but,
whatever. So moving on to Skate.
Tony Hawk the anime.
Tony Hawk wishes he could be this rad.
Are you sure about that?
No, in fairness, I'm gonna use the comparison that somebody on our Discord used. I think it was Lord actually.
Oh.
Might have been Lord. I can't remember. But basically, this is going to be this season Megalobox, where it's fully aesthetic based. And if you like that aesthetic, you'll enjoy it. If you don't, you won't.
See, I like the steampunk and cyberpunk blend of Megalobox quite a bit. And also the soundtrack kicked ass. And that is probably the only sports series I've watched in full.
This is very much a skater aesthetic. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the skaters aren't really the best people to be forming your aesthetic around. Not to mention the main villain at the moment is a fucking like guy with clown makeup.
Looks like an extra from an Insane Clown Posse concert.
Yeah. Uh, so it has interesting aspects. Again, definitely give it 3 episodes. It's really well animated because it's fucking Bones, of course it is. Uh, but we'll we'll see if it manages to get its characters going more than anything else. This is going to be a show that lives and dies on its characters. It has to
Yeah,
do well
that
with its
sounds about right.
characters, otherwise it's not gonna succeed.
Yeah, that's the thing with sports series. They either actually I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
don't
I
watch
don't know
sports
why
series.
you're talking about generalizing sports series, but
I tried, but I could not find a way to complete that sentence without making myself look like an ass.
what I would say about sports series is that it's it it's either you either go realistic, well, regardless of whether you go realistic or over the top, characters are what drives sports series. You have to enjoy your protagonists. That's what Haikyuu does so well. You love every fucking member of the Karasuno team, and that's what I would say. That's what I would say. Let's say Kuroko no Basket or Prince of Tennis didn't do for me. I didn't feel as attached to the teams in that as I do Haikyuu. I would say that's also what something like Run with the Wind does really well, or Surune, both amazing sports series. They they get you to like the characters more than anything else. The sports is just sports is just nice to have there. It's more about watching the characters you love succeed. And based on this first episode, we'll see whether Skate manages to do that. If nothing else, it's a very nice looking show.
Yeah, it's got that Bones money behind it. So
It has that Bones money behind it. Moving on, another isekai.
two.
Uh,
Yep.
so I'm a spider. So what? Gonna be real.
Ah, good old.
Gonna be real candid with you. I got through 16 minutes of this episode, saw how long there was left, and went, I'm not going to watch the rest of this.
I mean, it's not for everyone. It it really depends on how much you enjoy Aoyuki just monologuing for most of the episode. She basically carries the show, and depending on how much you like her performance, the show will live or die by it.
Yeah,
And
it
not everyone's
died.
going to enjoy that.
It died hard for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, I liked it well enough, and Aoyuki is a fantastic voice actress. Like she's in everything, to be fair with you. But this is her most.
She's the female Kenjiro Suda,
Yeah, except her voice isn't as
as
quite
distinctive.
as. But yeah, I think the part you skipped was the part where it goes back to humans in a more traditional animation.
That was the other thing. The CG was not great.
The CG was hit or miss. Yeah, that's unquestionable. There's really it's really hard to say otherwise. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was very weak.
Yeah, I just think that I'm just so tired of isekais with game mechanics that and the first episode being the character reincarnating and figuring out the game mechanics, and it's just so difficult to do that well.
Yeah, honestly, Log Rise is the only one I can think of that actually did the game mechanics well because they were
Yeah.
brought inside the game,
Yeah.
and the person who created it actually knows how game mechanics work.
And like they tried to change it up with having the protagonist. I don't even know her name because she doesn't have one. They tried to change
Let's
it
call
up.
her the spider for now.
They tried to change it up by having the protagonist be game savvy, but I just
That's been done before too.
that's been done before as well, and it just really wasn't that enjoyable for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just and I can't even like I wondered if it was to do with my mood, and I just wondered if I was in a bit of a sort of down mood, and that's why it did nothing for me. But literally, like 40 minutes, hour later, I was watching Heaven's Design Team and just like laughing my head off. So,
Yeah.
like this is on Spider Sakai.
Yeah. Oh, Aoyuki was in a party run one last year as Hototo.
That's good. I enjoyed Hototo.
Yes.
I mean, I enjoyed
So,
Party Ramen in general.
yeah. But yeah, this one will be hit or miss for you. A lot of it's going to be focused on the spider, and like I said, your enjoyment of that will live or die with how much you enjoy Aoyuki's performance in the central role.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much one person can do to carry a show on their own.
Very much so.
Moving on to a non-isekai fantasy story with a long-ass title befitting of a light novel.
Do you know the full title?
Yes, it is. See, suppose a kid from the Last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. And from henceforth, we are going to refer to it as some variation of Last Dungeon Boonies.
I've just been calling it Last Dungeon.
This was fun. This was a very lighthearted, fun,
This
enjoyable
was
time.
actually fairly fun. This was the last show I watched before this, and I did enjoy it. It helped that Lloyd is a sunshine child.
Lloyd is just such a wonderful, sweet kid. And he feels very realistic, not realistic, very understandable as just a likable protagonist who people just gravitate towards because of his natural kindness and bright demeanor.
The other stuff,
he's just such a great kid.
Yeah, the other stuff that I liked, this actually surprised me a bit. I did actually quite like Marie. She's not sort of the character archetype I usually like very much, but I did actually enjoy her in this, to an extent. Especially,
I mean, it helps that one of the characters she's playing off with is basically a gremlin stuffed into the body of a teenager.
The curse of slight misfortunes is horrific. Like, that's got to be one of the worst curses. Like, it's...
Oh, wait until you see the curse she gets in the second episode.
Oh, God, no. But it's just... That's just such a horrific curse, like, you know, just shoelaces coming untied. And just... It's just so... It's such a horrible way to torture somebody, but it's also so hilarious to watch.
Yeah. It is fun just seeing her have to put up with all the bullshit around her.
Yeah. And I did like the mentor. She, as he said, she was a gremlin and she was great.
I do also like most of the Academy characters, even though they are only in there briefly.
The one that I don't like is the princess.
Oh, the Yandere?
Yeah. I don't like yanderes.
Yeah, no, that's not surprising.
In fact, I generally hate them.
She is going to be hit or miss for people, depending on how much you like yanderes, and also depending on how she develops throughout the season, if she develops at all. I will say that the girl with the metal arm is much funnier.
Oh no, I fucking loved her, and one of my favorite parts of the fucking episode was in fact the princess just charging up to Lloyd and just embedding Metal Arm Girl into the fountain. Like, that was genuinely hilarious. Like, just
then her arm just turns all rubbery as she grabs the other girl by the head.
That was pretty good as well. Like, there were aspects of her that I liked. I just didn't like that she's a yandere. Like, I just don't like yanderes in general. I just don't like. I don't understand why anyone likes them. They're fucking psychopaths.
I could not answer that question for you, even if I tried.
And yes, that is right. I don't like Toga. Come at me.
Anyways, this one is delightful.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to check it out.
The
It is a
my main worry aside from the yandere is that it could have a limited shelf life on Lloyd not realizing how strong he is. Like
yeah, that's a valid concern.
even
It is
the
the central gag.
even the densest of harem protagonists would realize by, episode 3 or 4, by seeing, the people around him struggling to beat things that he kicked the shit out of.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
we will see
we'll, we
how it
will
handles the
we will
gag.
see how it handles that gag. For me, that's what it's gonna live and die on.
Oh yeah.
Because if it
Moving. Oh, sorry.
all I was gonna say is if it does actually progress from that point, it could end up being a really fun show. If it doesn't try and progress from that, just sticks to that same gag, the way for me that Sleepy Princess did, then I'm just gonna lose interest.
I do feel that the number of other gags throughout the episode definitely helps to balance it out.
It did. Like as I said,
It,
there were a lot.
it wasn't just focused on that one
No,
gag.
it wasn't.
There was a variety.
It definitely wasn't. As I said, there were a lot of gags that I've really enjoyed and found fun this episode.
Yeah.
I just hope that it's not that the gag about Lloyd not knowing how strong he is just doesn't overshadow it, and I'm hoping that the yandere doesn't act like yandere too much.
But yeah, overall, good time. It was a fun time, and
Yeah.
it is comes with 2 thumbs up from the both of us.
Moving on to a show I have slightly mixed opinions
Mixed.
on.
Slime Sakai 2.
That time I got reincarnated as a slime, season 2. I want to get this out of the way now. There are parts of this show that I genuinely love. And that is why I am very harsh on the show. Because I can see aspects of it that I absolutely adore. And if it focused on those aspects, I think it could be really, really good. But it chooses to focus on the less good aspects. And it also has very bad pacing issues most of the time.
Oh god. Let's not get into that because that's a relic of season 1.
We hope that's a relic of season 1, let's be real.
Yeah, we hope.
I have no trust in the writers of Slime to actually manage to figure out the pacing of this show. Because I'll just say it very quickly. For season 1, the first half was too slow, the second half was too fast. Maybe they'll manage to find that sweet spot this season. I'm not holding my breath. The other thing that I'm getting the bad out of the way because there is actually some really good stuff in this episode. The bad that I just didn't like is that it ended last season with a tearful goodbye between Rimuru and his students. I'm gonna challenge myself to see if I can remember their names. I should. I watched the OVAs with them in it last night, so I should still remember. Ken, Chloe, Gale, Seki something, and oh fuck, I've forgotten. Alice. That's it, Alice. I got most of them. I got like 95% of them. But yeah, so season 1 ended with a tearful goodbye between them and Rimuru, and then this season starts with him still teaching. There's no explanation given for that. Like, that is an oversight to my mind. The other thing is that the main premise of this episode is that there's an exchange happening between the land of Tempest and the land ruled by Demon Lord Carrion. We didn't see any interactions with Demon Lord Carrion last season, as far as I remember. And
No. It was during the arc with Milim and that giant flying shark-looking demon motherfucker. I think, if I remember correctly, it was sometime around that point.
I'm not sure.
It was with Carrion.
I
don't know. It's been a while since I watched that. It's been like a full year.
Yeah, I just think they could have done a better job of. If that is the case, they could have done a better job of explaining that.
Yeah.
Especially considering they had a fucking recap when there's been about 3 or 4 fucking recaps since the end of season 1.
Mm.
We do not need more recaps.
You know
Even
what is fun is the OVAs that you actually kind of do need to watch a little bit
I
in
wouldn't.
between seasons.
I honestly wouldn't say that the teacher ones are that required watching.
Required, but they help a lot with context.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say they help a little bit with context, but not that much.
They help with the context for the school portion of the episode specifically.
Actually, no. To be fair, based on the key visual that I've got up, it very well could. Those OVAs very well could play into future events, but at the moment,
Yeah,
I
they
wouldn't say
definitely
so.
fair statement. Sorry, I would say. You don't need to watch all the OVAs, just numbers 3 through 5, the school ones.
And to be fair, they were good OVAs. I enjoyed them.
They're fun,
They
and they definitely help endear you to the kids.
They definitely did that. I ended last season. I ended the first season hating those fucking kids, and the OVAs actually endeared me to them. So I'll give the OVAs that, and I'll give Slime that. The other good is the fucking action looked stupendous.
Oh yeah,
like
looks
you
great.
you had a hand-to-hand fight between Shion, who is, all things told, not my favorite character. She's actually one of my least favorite characters. But her fucking fight with Sophia, I believe was her name.
Yeah.
Was fucking
The white white leopard lady.
I think so. Yeah, that was really fucking well animated. And then you had Yume fighting Grucius, which we didn't get much of that one, but it did look really good.
Too bad the episode cuts off right in the middle of those two fights.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get more of it, but yes, it
Hopefully.
was. The other really good thing about this episode is very little Gabaru.
Oh yes.
And his fucking
Less
lackeys.
of him, the better.
If they just got struck by lightning and died, I would not cry a tear. I would in fact applaud, because they are the worst parts of this show.
I will say that if Shion actually does get more focus this season and gets developed as a character, I imagine it'll do a lot for her.
My issue with Shion is that her main role at times is just to pillow her breasts on fucking Rimaru's slime form.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair.
Like, it's just weird. I fucking love Goblin Elder Terry Crews. I absolutely adore him.
He is wonderful.
Ranga. Go ahead.
Ranga is best boy.
Ranga is still a very, very good boy. Like, I keep calling him a dog when he's a wolf, but he's just a dog at this point, and he absolutely accepts that. And I love him. just his fucking tail wagging all the time.
He's just the best. He's the best boy.
At the start of the episode, when he comes up to Rimuru and is like complimenting him, and Rimuru's just like, "You want something, don't you? You've seen through me, master." As I said, there are parts of Slime that I absolutely adore. There really are, and I just wish that it could focus on them and do things properly.
Yeah, it has its issues. It really does. But at the end of the day, it's still one of the better isekais out there.
Not the highest bar in the world, but yes, I agree.
No, I would say it's in the upper mid tier of isekais.
Yeah.
Though I will say that Log Horizon and ReZero are better.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not even having watched it. I would agree with that. But I would say Slime's not that far behind.
Yeah, like I said, it's on the upper end of isekais. But moving on to a very different series, we're gonna talk about Vlad Love.
Go ahead.
Which the first episode dropped back in December, I think, and it was created by the legendary Mamoru Oshii, who who is a very well-known industry veteran behind such titles as Ghost in the Shell and Pat LeBur. Uh, but yeah, apparently he prefaced the premiere of this by saying this that modern anime is boring or something along those lines, and then he dropped this, which is very, very anime.
Right.
By
In a good
uh,
way or a bad way?
yes,
Oh, of course.
it's very bizarre.
Hmm.
Basically, the main character is the white-haired girl up front, and she is a blood donation enthusiast. And while trying to donate blood, she meets a vampire girl who is in the bottom left right next to her, and eventually offers her blood to said vampire girl. And it's very, very clear that there's romantic attraction right off the bat between the two, especially from the main character to the vampire.
Okay.
Also, and basically, eventually, because the vampire does not want to, I think the vampire's name is Mai. Because Mai doesn't want to drink from the protagonist directly,
Mm-hmm.
um, Mitsugu, that's her name. Because that would turn her into a vampire.
Ah.
So Mitsugu eventually resolves with the school nurse's help, and the school nurse wears a very impractical outfit that I imagine we get a normal school nurse fired
Of course.
because it's a stripper outfit. It's a straight up stripper outfit.
Of course, it's anime.
Yeah, it's not as bad as some, but it's still like so much cleavage. Jesus. But yeah,
Better or worse than Shion?
on par with Shion.
Ugh. Shion is not at the low end of that scale.
No. She wears a tight red mini dress with cleavage
Jesus Christ.
under lab coat.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of Yuri subtext, and eventually Mitsuku tries to start a blood donation club so that her girlfriend can get the blood she needs.
I mean,
And that's the end of the episode.
sounds like a vaguely interesting concept if it manages to, stick the landing.
The problem is it's super weird and stylized.
Yeah.
Like it's utterly insane. The first episode's on YouTube, and the YouTube subtitle translations can be kind of weird at points.
Hmm.
There's also a scene where the nurse just is randomly naked in her office, and she's covered up by a censor block that says obligatory censorship for obligatory fan service scene or something along those lines. And it's just like, okay, that was random. Because it's not even mentioned again after that.
Why do I get the feeling the guy who made this, who called modern anime boring, why do I get the feeling his favorite anime last year was In Species of Reviewers?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. Anyway, moving on from a strange story to
Egg!
something I absolutely fell in love with. Egg.
AKA
Wonder Egg Priority.
Wonder Egg Priority. I did not watch this, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I was too busy setting up the stream. I would have watched it otherwise, and I will watch it after the stream.
In all seriousness, this is one of the most stunningly animated series I've seen since Violet Evergarden.
That's a very good comparison.
Like, you've seen the previews at least, so you know how good it looked.
Yeah. The mountain not the mountain, the hill it'll have to climb is can its story and can its character work back up that good animation? Because we know that
I am inclined to say yes.
Again, we will see. We've both seen shows that well, let's give the main example of that from last year, God of High School.
Oh god.
It was all visuals and nothing else. and it ended up just being a fucking advertisement for the animation team for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mm. Yeah, in all honesty, like, holy shit, this was just like I came in with no expectations other than for it to be pretty, and I was blown away by story and just how simultaneously poignant and bizarre it was.
Mm.
I don't want to spoil the story for you because going in blind is probably the best way to take it,
Yeah.
but there are content warnings to be aware of, um, particularly with regard to bullying, which is something that is pretty important to the central premise of the show. I
Right.
won't, but if
On,
this if this hits me anywhere near as hard as a Silent Voice
I
did,
was
which
about
has
to say,
similar animation quality and similar subject matter, I'm going to be weeping by the end of this.
on a scale of, I'm trying to think of something that wasn't particularly bullying. On a scale of 1 to a silent voice, how bad is the bullying?
We actually don't see any of it on screen. We basically
Okay,
it's
then
very heavily.
on a scale of on a scale for off-screen bullying of 1 to Bakugo, how bad is the bullying?
Um, I would say about 3/4 to the way to Bakugo, maybe more. I don't want to say more because the spoilers.
I understand.
It's a very handles some rough subject matter. I will say that it's not going to be for everyone, but
Yeah,
from what I saw, it is quite a good story, and like I said, I just know this thing is going to make me cry. It's going to hit me in the gut so many times.
I mean, I do need one of those shows at least once a year.
Yeah,
Last year's was
like if
Somali.
it. Mm-hmm.
Ugh,
If
Somali.
this maintains the quality it had in its first episode all the way through, it'll be a strong contender for my anime of the season, if not anime
Interesting.
of the year.
Interesting.
It is a very strong front runner already.
Very interesting. Okay,
Bottom line, probably the strongest recommendation I could possibly give. Please, for the love of God, watch the show.
heard it here first. Uh, so moving on to my final show because we've only got 2 shows left, both the sequels. Uh,
Yep.
World Trigger Season 2. Now, I have not watched World Trigger Season 1. That's because I've read the manga. I'm fully caught up on the manga, so I know what's going to happen this season, and I can't wait. Uh, this, if you are going to watch this, I would, if you have, watched Season 1 or read the manga, I would recommend going back and reading slash watching the first part of the Rank Wars up to where Osamu and Chika get their new strategies. If you haven't watched or read World Trigger, I would recommend you do so before watching season 2 because it does not ease you in. It starts straight away with, again, spoilers, the Gallipulans planning their attack on board a HQ and eventually going through with their plan. Which, so what I've heard of season 1 is that it was because it went for 73 episodes.
Jesus.
Yeah, ongoing. It's the animation quality was not the best. However, I was actually, I wouldn't say the animation in this episode was spectacular. Um, but I would say it was pretty good. Certainly not up there with the best of this season, but certainly not that far below them. The other reason I would recommend you do a rewatch or reread is because of World Trigger's main problem, which is so many characters. I mean,
Oof.
I put together a document for the current manga arc listing characters, and I still struggled with some of them uh, in this episode because there's just so many characters, so many. But the main ones that get spotlight in this episode, you do know, which is good. The other thing is that certainly for the first half of this season, there is not going to be much of a focus on Tamakoma 2, which, if you like, Osamu, Yuma, and Chika, bit of a shame, but I still enjoy this arc, so I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a really fun arc, I think, especially if it's given the visual love that it deserves.
All right. With that, we will move on to the last show on our list, Yuru Camp, aka Laid Back Camp.
Season 2.
AKA the comfiest show of the season. Just so much comfort.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a really nice, wholesome, fun show. You're not going to get anything more or less from it. It's just a good time, and it's a good show to chill out to. But
does it have a dub?
Not to my knowledge. It's subbed.
I mean, the issue is that if it's like what I like from my comfy shows is to be able to just have it on in the background and be doing something else.
That is valid.
If it's subbed, that's kind of hard to do. that would be my issue.
Yeah, I will say that this show does have the added benefit of talking about camping, which is not really a common topic for basically any slice of life anime. Most of those are just school hub things. And school stuff does happen here, but this is very much one about it's about winter camping for the most part, which is very seasonally appropriate.
Yeah. And
I just love the characters, and I love the fluffiness, and it's just really nice.
That's good.
It's anime comfort food is what this is, and it is worth watching.
Yeah.
If you want something to just kick back and relax to.
Yeah. So, I believe that's the end.
That's everything.
Before we go, I'm gonna ask you a question.
I do want to. What? Sure.
Top 5 new anime this season.
I was about to ask you the same thing. I have my list up. So in no particular order, slight order, I would say Horimiya, Wonder Egg Priority, Kimono Ghen, Heaven's Design Team, and Other Side Picnic.
Interesting.
Those are my 5 recommendations. I would also add an honorable mention for Last Dungeon Boonies.
My top 5. It's going to be interesting. I haven't thought about this yet.
That's because you haven't watched Egg.
That's because I haven't watched Egg. I'm sure that if it's as good as you're saying it is, and if I enjoyed it as much as you did, I'm sure it'll end up in my top 5 when I watch it. But until then, let's see. Kimono Ghen is top. Then I would say Horimiya, Heaven's Design Team. Sort of a big gap between that top 3. I would probably say Last Dungeon and then Other Side Picnic.
So we're pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, what we're recommending. So yeah, check those 6 shows out, definitely.
Yeah.
Everything else is probably going to be subject to
3-episode rule.
3-episode rule or by your taste, individual tastes. But
I mean, if you like idol, if you like idol stuff, check out the idol shows. They might actually do something for you. We're not especially big idol fans, so they did very little to us.
I have watched 3 idol shows to completion, and one of those was Zombieland Saga.
Yeah.
But yeah, with all that said, I think we're going to call it a
I mean,
Thank you.
we've managed to keep just to about 2 hours, which is good for us, considering,
Oh
especially
yeah,
considering how many shows we had to talk about.
I'm impressed with the pace we managed.
Yeah.
But please tune in on Saturday when we talk about One Piece's East Blue Saga, because that's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. And certainly for Sunday, we're not going to be doing D&D. We
Tentatively planning a session of Among Us
we're
that
trying to
may
get
or may not pan out.
we're trying to get some people for Among Us. If we can get I think 6 people, we'll probably play it.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for the day. If you are watching this on Twitch or on YouTube, please hit the follow button or the subscribe button, and drop a like if it's on YouTube.
Just before we go, we are currently planning on doing a couple more specials, the mid-season and end-of-season reviews.
Yes. So look forward to that. The mid-season should drop sometime in mid-February, after everything has at least 6 episodes out, and the end of season will be after everything has more or less concluded. That is one core.
Again, but for those, we won't be covering everything. Obviously, we'll just be covering the stuff that we watched.
Yeah, so don't expect everything that we talked about on this list to be on the mid-season or the end of season. There are going to definitely be drops. We're not going to be talking about idols or anything like that.
I was going to say, don't expect many of the idol shows to be talked about. I was going to say don't expect Exxon, but as I said, I'm probably going to watch 3 episodes of that, so I could probably talk a little bit about that in the mid-season review.
Yeah, we might talk about the stuff with 3 episodes in the mid-season.
Yeah. But, yeah. Otherwise, as I said, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to anyone watching in the archives, and see you on Saturday.
Adios.